Well, hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic Eye on Board Game Geek, bringing you another game playthrough. This time we're going to be playing Claustrophobia with the De Profundis expansion, and it's going to be a fun one. Now, Claustrophobia is typically a two-player game where one player controls the heroes and the other player controls the demons. I'm just going to control both and try and be as fair to each side as possible and give you a good rundown of how this game works. But in essence, it's a kind of a dark fantasy dungeon crawler. It's pretty neat. A lot of cool things about it you'll get to see. The mechanics are very, very cool if you haven't seen them before. And even though I'm using the expansion, it'll still give you a great idea of how the base game works. So, without further ado, let's just get started. Now, I'm going to first go over our characters, and then I'll go over the scenario that we're going to play. And I'll talk a little bit about the demon and the turn order events, things like that. But let's get started with that right now. So here we have the starting tile with our four hero characters on there. There's the the Redeemer. He's the tough guy. He's kind of like I guess like a cleric or paladin priest type combo that you would see in a normal game. Big giant hammer, etc. You got these other guys that are basically the condemned, and I guess there's this real dark lore about them being condemned and being allowed to redeem themselves. That's why they go with the Redeemer. But here we have a brute, and he's a big tough guy using a. Well, we'll get to their items in just a moment. But also we have a blade for hire, who's also one of the condemned, and those are going to be our four heroes that are going to try and complete the scenario that we're going to have in front of us. Now, these are our character boards. You notice that we have the Redeemer here, and he's got a couple of unique things. He's got this blessed hammer, which is an item that he gets to use, which basically allows him to kill any demon outright with a single hit. It's pretty tough. That includes the big demon. He's got an Aura of Healing that allows him to heal. Now, he has to, when he rolls his action dice, if he rolls a 4, he can actually use this ability. Plus, he's got the Aura of Protection, which gives him the elusive talent, which I'll talk about what that is when we're playing. And like I said, I'm not going to go over these too much because you get to see them in action during gameplay. Aura of Precognition is a really good one. Allows you to look at tiles ahead of time and organize them. So that's the Redeemer. Over here we have our Brute, and he's just a big tough guy, but he does have this shield, the Shield of Steel, which allows him a +1 defense. That's always good. And then below that, we have our condemned Blade for Hire, who has the elusive ability built in. I didn't talk about the other guy's abilities, but you see that he's got his blunderbuss right here. That allows him to shoot up to a hex away, or sorry, not a hex, but a tile away. And then you have the Sicaria, which is the other hero type. And in this case, she's got two things. She's got this necklace of ears, which we'll go over what it does during gameplay. It's an item, powerful. And then the skill of Tactician, which allows her to roll an extra die for her actions, or an extra die for the pool, which is kind of nice. And those are our heroes. Now, each of the heroes does have a special ability. This Sicaria doesn't, because they get their own special ability cards. The Redeemer is still the most powerful of the characters, without a doubt, and he's meant to be. And he has the ability of Blessed. Again, we're going to cover all these things during gameplay. The Condemned Bodyguard up here, if you can still see it, has the Bodyguard and Impressive. Bodyguard allows him to take hits for other people in his space, and Impressive keeps demons from being able to run past him or get by him on the board. He's a big, impressive fellow. And then the Condemned has the elusive ability inherently, which means if there's a demon on their space, they can still move out of it without penalty. So that's the heroes. And through the course of the game, we're going to get some cards that are tactics cards, or whatever you call them. Okay, it's a big stack basically right here, and they have all kinds of different things that they can do that can help you with the game as your fight against the demons and trying to explore the catacombs and get out alive with whatever mission you're on. So let's go over and take a look at the demon board as well. Now here's the demon board. Now what's cool about this is you get to roll 3 dice. And when you roll the 3 dice, well, that'd be a phenomenal starting roll. you get to place them on various spots to give you abilities. And that's why it's okay, even though it's a two-player game, to kind of solo it out and show you how it works. You do have quite a bit of decision making, but still, this will be enjoyable as a playthrough. And we also have his enemies. The enemy he has to throw at the good guys is the Demon of Combat. He gets 2 of those during the game. He also has these Hellhounds, which came with the expansion, that are pretty cool. And of course, all of them come with nice, cool miniatures as well. And you'll see those, as well as a bunch of troglodytes coming out on the board. And also, he starts with these threat tokens. He gets 4 of them to begin with. That's how he starts the game, and he'll get more as he goes. So now let's quickly go over our scenario. So I chose the first part of a 2-parter, and if it goes well and fast enough, maybe I'll do the second part as well. But this one's the Relics, and maybe I'll read the blurb a little later. But what the heroes are trying to do is recover these relics and get them out safely without being killed. They have to get 2 relics out of the catacombs to succeed at the mission, and they find the relics on these stash cards. And there's also some special things that take place during the scenario. And this also, when you look at the scenario, you also get to see what the setup is, etc. And I realized I pulled the wrong demon. I had the Demon of Combat out there. I have to get out the Demon of Destruction. That's the one that's going to be taking place in this, which is going to be a lot of fun. So the victory conditions again says the human player wins the game if they manage to bring at least 2 relics out. The human player manages a draw if they bring out only 1 relic, and any other result is a victory for the demon player. Now, also, there's some other things that going to see all these different things. Don't do that. Basically, I have to take out all the lamp oil cards from the special cards that they have. Those are going to be removed from the advantage cards. And then the relics, I had to explain that to you. We have to pick up relics. When we find a stash, we're going to get relics. We're also going to get advantage cards. But the relics are just tokens that we're going to put on our character. Now, there are some special rules. The Redeemer can carry 2 of them, but we really don't want him to. If he carries 1, he's got no penalty. If he carries the second one, he's got to drop his Blessed Hammer, which is bad. The Condemned and the Blade for Hire can also carry 1 each, but if they do, they cannot use their items. And then the Sicaria, she can carry 1 as well at no penalty, because the necklace is okay in this scenario. So this thing's heavy. That's what that has to do. And then the bottom one, My Faith Supports Me, talks about the Redeemer. So also the Redeemer, if he's carrying 1 relic, gets a +1 combat. So I think my strategy for the heroes is going to be to have a relic on the Sicaria and on the Redeemer, and that's it. And try and get 2 out and not worry about collecting all 4 of them. And not having them on the other characters so they can use their items, because that's going to be too important. And also they have this Follow Me. It says a condemned warrior carrying a relic must, if possible, be on the same tile or a tile adjacent to the Redeemer at the end of the movement. So, and they will move, and they will spend their movement getting closer to the Redeemer, so we got to keep the Redeemer moving forward and out in front. And then with the demons, you know, as we have Destructive Rage, it says when the Demon of Destruction kills a human warrior carrying a relic, the relic is destroyed, and that's how the demons win the game. Yeah, and so basically that's going to be our scenario. So we're trying to get some of these relics out of the catacombs, and that's basically all I have to cover with you right now. We'll get to see the rest during gameplay, and you'll get to see how the game plays out. So why don't we get on and just get our first turn going, and you'll get to see how Claustrophobia plays. It's a really fun game. Very good. My son and I like it a lot. So the first thing that we do in a turn of Claustrophobia is we're going to roll initiative for the human characters, basically the good guys. Now, normally we would roll 1 per character. We have 4 characters, but because of the ability of the tactician, we get to roll an extra 1. As long as that character is alive, then we will get to do that. So we're going to roll all 4 of these, or all 5 of them. Rather, we're going to place 4 of them into the character tiles, and I'll show you how that works. So let me think about what we're going to do first, and I'll place them and show you what that looks like. So as you can see, I placed the die here, which represents this mark on the board and tells me what their statistics are going to be for this turn. So with our Redeemer, we have, I gave him a 5. Now that gives him a 1 movement, a 1 attack, and 5 defense, but the reason I gave him the 5 is because that allows him to activate his Aura of Precognition, which says at the beginning of his activation, the Redeemer can choose to trigger this gift. The next tile to be played during this round will be secretly chosen from the next 3 tiles in the stack. Furthermore, you choose the orientation of that tile. Normally the demons do that. So the remaining 2 tiles are put back in the stack on the stack in order of your choice. So when we activate him, that's what we're going to do. And then I gave her a 6 too, so that she had a nice high defense, just in case the demons are able to bring in some baddies. I gave him the 3 because that gives him a +4 defense and 3 attack, which is not going to be a big deal. I doubt we're going to get to attack. I gave him the 2 because it gives him a 4 defense as well. Now the Condemned has the shield, so that's going to actually give him a 5. But now let's actually go do our activations. Okay, so I chose my tiles already, and the first thing we're going to do is move, and I think I'm going to actually move our brute first. And he's going to move to this space here, and well, you know what, let's take that back. I'm going to move our Redeemer first. We're going to take that and I'm going to turn this up, place this new tile here, and I'll show you what that is going to look like. See, this has a treasure on it, which is one of the relics. So I'm going to get one of the relic tokens and put it on the Redeemer. This box here means it's a stash tile. And with the stash tile, that's how we get our relics. So we have our first relic. Now we put that on our Redeemer, and he's going to get +1 to combat. So this is our token for our relic, and it's going to be placed on the Redeemer's card right here, showing that he's carrying this relic. Let's place it right there, and I'm going to have to remember that he does have that because it does give him that combat bonus. Now because I used the ability of the precognition, I knew that this tile was going to be placed here, and I also know what the next tile is going to be. So I think we're going to take that tile and we're going to place it straight up above us. Now this tile is a good one for us too. Out of the 3, this one was actually good. This is what they call a sanctified tile. Whenever a demon enters it, it takes damage. So I think we're going to, I didn't say who was going to move actually, but it's going to be our blade here. So he's going to move north. So we're going to take this, and I think I'm going to orient it just like that, and he will move up to here. Now, I still have the other 2 to go. I could continue exploring in each direction, but I don't know that I want to, because the next one is not going to be as good a tile for us. It is actually a negative tile for us, which is if I recall correctly, it's the hole in the ground, which allows the demon to place another hole in the ground somewhere else and gives them the ability to quickly move between the 2 tiles. But we're going to have to get it out anyway. Do we place it in the path here, because it'll allow him to bypass this? You know, I think what we'll do is we'll have, I don't want to split them up too much though. So I think we're going to have him move up there. I think she'll stay right here, and we won't draw out a tile this turn. That'll be the end of our movement. Well, she might as well move too, and then he'll just catch up to him. So those 3 moved up to there, and that way if we're, well, no, take it back. I'm going to leave her here, because another thing the demons can't normally do unless they roll correctly on their dice is they can't place the troglodytes or other demons into the spaces with characters that are already in play. So at this point, unless they can roll the special ability that allows them to do that, they won't be able to. Speaking of which, that is the activation for the heroes. And next we're going to go on to the actual demons. That was the player activation phase. Now we're going to go on to the threat phase, where the demons get to roll their dice and take their actions. Okay, so now we're going to roll the 3 dice for the threat phase of the demon's turn. We're going to do that. That's won't be able to do what I wanted to. Let me think about what we want to do, and I'll get right back. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for our first turn. We're not going to be able to summon any troglodytes because there's no place to bring them in. But what we'll do is I place my 2 here because you can place any die score. And next turn it'll give us an extra die, which will allow us to do more stuff. And then I also placed the die here must be all odd or all even. I only placed 1. That's going to give us 2 additional threat, which would each troglodyte costs 1 to bring in, and each hellhound costs 3. Just give you an idea. And then lastly, I chose also a Dark Destiny, which allows us to take a demon event card, which I will shuffle up a little bit here again just to make sure they're shuffled. And we'll draw one, and that will basically mark the end of the first turn. So you can see the turns go, at least initially, go rather quickly. And we'll make that a nice short video then, because we'll just end it right there, and then we'll pick up next time with our next turn. So what do we get? We get acid projectile, or projection. It says play when the demon or hellhound, not a troglodyte, attacks. Warrior can attack an opponent in a tile adjacent to its own. This is considered a ranged attack. So we're just going to keep that there with our demons, and that will be something that they can play on our heroes during their turn. And that basically ends a turn, since there were no demons summoned. Now, after we take those actions, we could summon demons if we had a space to bring them to, or if we roll a 7, this A Taste for Blood allows us to ignore the fact that there are heroes on the board that can't prevent the summoning of demons, which is cool. So that is going to end our turn and end this quick little video. The next one we'll just dive right in, maybe do 2 turns at a time. We'll see how long the videos go. But thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.